This is the perfect example of a deposition gone bad starring David Portnoy.
Do you know who David Portnoy is?
Viva Frei, Montreal litigator turned YouTuber, and this is Winnie the Westie. You know, when the world seems to be falling apart, every now and again, it's fun to get distracted by something as glorious as the worst moment of a deposition imaginable. Alright, I may be exaggerating a bit, but it is a great highlight nonetheless from the deposition of David Portnoy in the context of the Michael Rapaport defamation and breach of contract lawsuit against Barstool Sports. Now, in order to truly understand and appreciate the beauty of what went wrong in this highlight of the deposition, one needs a little bit of context, which is going to make everyone smile even if you feel guilty about smiling about it. Barstool Sports beats Michael Rapaport's defamation claims. A judge won't hold the Bro Network liable for tarring its former podcaster as a racist, a domestic abuser, and a D-list actor with an STD, but in a wild 64-page opinion, the judge sends contract claims to trial. Alright, so the article goes over some of the nittier and grittier details, which we'll get into, but the 30,000-foot overview, for those of you who don't know, Michael Rapaport is an actor. He starred in such great films as True Romance, and I don't mean that sarcastically. True Romance was a great film.
Floyd, can't you answer the door at least for me?
Oh man, I didn't even hear.
You can't help me out every now and then?
Rapaport was hired by Barstool Sports to do podcasts and other things. The relationship quickly turned acrimonious. Michael Rapaport was fired. He then sued for breach of contract and defamation for reasons we're going to see as described in this article, which led to a 64-page judgment which dismissed the claims of defamation but allowed the contract claim to proceed. In the rough and tumble digital world, things sometimes get quite nasty. Want proof? Well, put it this way. If aliens were to swoop down from outer space tomorrow and one wanted to show these extraterrestrials that Earthlings know a thing or two about being vulgar, a 64-page ruling just out from federal court is an excellent starting point. The opinion concerns a feud between Barstool Sports and Michael Rapaport and could become an instant classic. If not for the Photoshop picture of anal sex on page 7, then at least for a judge's discussion on whether calling someone a racist and taunting that person with custom-made t-shirt implying an STD rises to actionable defamation. Ultimately, Barstool escapes Rapaport's libel claims even if the Bro Network headed by David Portnoy is still facing the prospect of a trial on the issue of whether his talent contract was breached or excused by a morals clause. That is the context that is going to help you appreciate the deposition. But before we get into the deposition, I'm going to make one bold prediction. Michael Rapaport is going to lose on his claim for breach of contract. He is going to lose on his claim for breach of contract because according to the lawsuit, and it seems to be an undisputed fact, he got fired for disparaging the entire fan base of Barstool Sports. Rapaport and Barstool's employees got into a heated war on social media. There were plenty of memes. Eventually, the final straw came when Rapaport tweeted, quote, "If you call yourself a stoolie for real, you've already lost in life," end quote. For insulting Barstool's fan base, Rapaport was fired, although he claims that Barstool engineered a, quote, "coordinated assault," end quote, to get out of the existing talent agreement. Quote, "Whether the evidence demonstrates that Rapaport's tweet actually brought Barstool into public disrepute and thus permitted Barstool to immediately terminate the talent agreement is a disputed issue of material fact that must be resolved by a jury following trial," end quote, writes Bookwald, also concluding that a jury should also decide other contractual issues, including whether Barstool truly made, quote, "good faith efforts," end quote, to get Rapaport a Sirius XM show. Quote, "This is not the rare circumstance in which a party's motives and good faith efforts can be determined as a matter of law at the summary judgment stage," end quote. That is the context. Michael Rapaport alleges that Barstool fired him on a pretextual basis and that after having fired him, they went on to defame him by selling merchandise depicting Michael Rapaport as a clown with something on his face, and you'll understand what I mean when you hear the deposition. Barstool's owner, David Portnoy, on the other hand, says that he fired Michael Rapaport for good reason after insulting all of Barstool's fans, and when he knew Michael Rapaport would lash out and do something stupid on social media, which apparently Michael Rapaport did, he then had a shirt made up, ready to go to embarrass Michael Rapaport himself. Now, the judge ultimately dismisses the lawsuit on the defamation claim on the basis that nobody would have taken seriously all of the insults and accusations being hurled at Michael Rapaport, and they would have assumed that it was all something of, SHIT posting on the interwebs. The judge came to the conclusion that so many things were said, so many insults were hurled that no one would have taken any one of them to be a factual statement, such that the claim for defamation had to be dismissed on the basis of a motion to dismiss, but that Michael Rapaport can proceed to a trial on the breach of contract claim. Now, the discovery of David Portnoy was conducted in the lawsuit, and a portion of it was leaked, and it went absolutely viral because it's a true classic, and it illustrates the issue that not knowing something is not a problem. Not listening is the problem. And entering into a discovery with a factually incorrect understanding of the timeline, that is going to lead to disaster.
This is a blog of yours, El Presidente, February 21st, 2018, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And at the very bottom you write, "This shirt haunting him for the rest of his life is enough for me. No need to rub it in more with the champagne." Do you see that?
No.
Very bottom of the document.
Oh, okay, yeah, he's under this shirt. Yep, okay.
And you're referring to the shirt with him that we've talked about today, correct? And why, what about that shirt do you believe would haunt him for the rest of his life?
He's depicted as a clown.
A clown with herpes?
You said that, not me.
Well, wasn't that your intent, sir?
No, you actually listened to a video of me just saying it was a clown shirt.
I see. This. Do you recall your testimony earlier today that you created the clown shirt? You designed and created the clown shirt after you terminated Mr.
Yes,
Rapaport?
I do.
Okay. That is in fact not true, isn't it? Isn't it true that you designed the clown shirt prior to terminating Mr. Rapaport because you were looking for a reason to terminate him?
Objection.
This is just a terrible question. It's terribly formulated and it's terribly set up because the lawyer just asked David Portnoy if something was the case, to which he said yes, and then he immediately proceeds to say,
But that's not true, is it?
I like to call this the "a few good men" syndrome, where lawyers think they're going to get a gotcha moment after the first question. You need to lead someone into the trap before you pull the trigger. A contradiction, an admission that sinks a case does not come as easily as asking someone the question, getting an answer, and then telling them they just lied under oath.
What?
Isn't it true that your testimony today that you
That's news to
designed
me.
the clown shirt after terminating Mr. Rapaport is false testimony?
Not
Objection.
to my knowledge, it's not.
Isn't it true that you just gave false testimony? It doesn't work quite that easily, especially with someone who is as intelligent as David Portnoy. Yep, you got me. I just lied under oath. And you see the way the lawyer becomes frustrated right after this question. He says, isn't it true, sir? When a lawyer starts putting in the "sir" where they hadn't been including it before, they are getting frustrated because they're not getting the answers they wanted.
Isn't it true, sir, that you had designed the T-shirt before terminating Mr. Rapaport, and that you had planned to concoct a reason to terminate him, and were planning on releasing it as soon as you terminated him?
Objection.
No idea what you're
Misstates
talking
the evidence. Argumentative.
We started to talk about this, and then I had trouble with the video, so we stopped. But you recall your testimony earlier today that the picture that you came up with, the T-shirt that you designed, you did all of that after you terminated Mr. Rapaport, correct?
Correct.
Isn't it true, sir, that in fact you actually had the picture ready to go, and that you were in fact just waiting to use something you could to justify your termination of Mr. Rapaport, and then use it at that point?
No.
Okay.
Isn't it true, sir? Again, the lawyer is trying to basically create his own theory of the case and impose it on the witness as opposed to listening to the witness's answers so as to reformulate his theory of the case. The bottom line is that the lawyer conducting the deposition thinks that David Portnoy prepared the shirts before firing Michael Rapaport, that the entire firing was pretextual, it was all a setup, and he's trying to force the witness to say something which is factually incorrect. The lawyer is just wrong in his understanding of the theory of the case, but the problem is not that he is wrong. The problem is that he is not listening to the answers.
Okay, so you said you knew he was going to say something, and so you had it ready, and when he said it, you were like, boom. What do you mean by that?
I just explained it. Once we fired Rapaport, I knew he was going to do things like he did, which is challenging me to a fight, make pictures of himself having sex with me from behind, things like that. When he did that, I was going to release the shirt. I'd have it ready to go. So I don't know, like
So
your
you're not-
characterization of it being made before he was fired, that contradicts it.
The photo, when you said you knew he was going to say something and you had it ready to go, does that not mean that you were waiting for him to say something that you could then use to terminate him?
This video is after he was fired. I literally say in it, the guy goes, when did you have the shirt? I go, 3 things happened. I fired the wrong Rapaport. I fired Mike Rapaport. Mike Welker, who are our T-shirt guys. I go, the third, 1, 2, 3. So I fired Rapaport. The next text was to our T-shirt guy to get this shirt ready for when Mike Rapaport said something about me and escalate this, because at this point he had it. Then Rapaport proceeded to challenge me to fight. I believe this is sorry language, called me pussy repeatedly, and then made pictures of himself having sex with me from behind. That's when I put the shirt on sale. Okay. So it's the exact opposite of what you insinuated.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
And if you listen carefully, you can literally hear the moment the world collapses around that lawyer.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Okay.
I see what you're saying. I finally heard you. I finally realized that everything I thought I knew about this case was upside down and backwards.
That went well.
Did that go the way you thought it was going to go? Nope.
Now, it is easy to blame the lawyer because the lawyer basically did have a totally incorrect understanding of the theory of the case, the fact pattern, and the timeline, but I once received a piece of advice as a young lawyer that I never forgot.
Your clients are your enemies.
Now, the lawyer who told this to me sort of said it tongue-in-cheek, but he did say your clients are your enemies because they are not going to tell you the entire story. They are only going to tell you the part of the story that supports their position. So I have no doubt that Michael Rapaport gave his lawyer all the facts that Michael Rapaport thought was relevant, and this lawyer went into the deposition thinking he understood it all when he in fact did not appreciate what he did not even know. Which highlights something else I have been saying on my channel for a while. More important than knowing the answers is knowing the questions to ask. And one should proceed with as much humbleness and humility as possible because when you take a fall, it's going to be a lot less painful if you were less arrogant before you started falling.
That went well.
It is your testimony, sir, that you did not have anything planned before Mr. Rapaport.
Correct.
Okay.
And that video you just played proves it.
Let's go to exhibit number 50.
And let's just go to exhibit number 50 and pretend none of this ever happened. So that is your breakdown of when good depositions go bad, starring David Portnoy. When a lawyer heads into a deposition, a discovery, one has to appreciate that it is a discovery. You're going to learn things. And if you expect to catch the witness in a gotcha, a few good men kind of moment, you had better have the receipts to prove it. You cannot just go into the deposition thinking you know the truth and you're going to ask the witness the question and the witness is just going to break down and say, yes, I just lied to you under oath. And that is pretty much exactly what happened here. That lawyer thought he was just going to be able to get David Portnoy to admit that he lied under oath and he did not have the evidence to back it up. And as far as my prediction that this lawsuit is going to get dismissed on the merits as relates to the breach of contract claim, yeah, when you insult the entire fan base of your employer, that might be a sufficient reason to fire you immediately. That, coupled with all of Michael Rapaport's conduct in this file, I don't think any jury is going to be particularly sympathetic to Michael Rapaport. That is my prediction. It is out there in the ethers of the internet. I can never take it back. We will see if it turns out to be true. And with that said, if you like my videos, you like my content, please be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and drop a comment in the comment section below because it feeds the algorithm.
Tina, you fat lard, come get some dinner.
If you want to support the channel, all of these support links are in the pinned comment. We've got PayPal, Patreon, subscribe to our YouTube membership, etc. We have got merchandise as well. What do we have? Keep Calm and Vlog On. Robert Barnes and I do weekly live streams every Sunday. We do weekly interviews every Wednesday, the sidebar, so tune in for those. We also have a page on Locals, vivabarneslaw.locals.com, where you get some great exclusive content. All of my videos are also on Rumble. But more important than any of that, take care of yourselves, check in on friends and family, make sure everyone around you is doing well, and because I know you all love it, Winnie, you want to do the peace out? Peace out. Booyah!